Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today with Bobby Castillo, uh, a friend of mine for many years. He's a huge defender. He has an interesting, backstory and everything, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just going to talk about his current life, and then we're going to talk about current today. So, hey, Bobby, uh, start out by telling us where you're living and what you're doing for a living and all that.
Well. First, I mean, I'll say a little bit about that background. We met in the someone else. I was a former Mexican member, and I left that like 50 years ago. That's I'm old school, 77 years old, and I'm too old for that.
Right.
But I went on to live a totally different life. I didn't want to see youngsters living the same life and the same mistakes as me. And I started gang programs. I got a lot of awards for the work that I was doing. Including from law enforcement. What was different than me, and with law enforcement, I never fucking ratted nobody. I always taught my kids, in the gangs and the streets, to keep their mouth shut, not to be a rat. I know people like to hear stuff, like from Boxer and Mundo, Mexican Mafia. They got some hellacious stories,
Yeah.
but they fucking went. They went and ratted. They got a face. Man, I ain't done nothing to double cross anybody, and I kept my dignity, you could say. But anyway, from there on, from doing my gang program, there's people that you see, like let's say Michael, crime family, they. I totally respect that dog because he didn't turn on nobody. And then there was guys, like in the Mexican Mafia, Kilroy, and Conejo. There was different people. They became Christians. They left the life, but they didn't fucking rat anybody. I got total respect for them. I got respect for when you turn and you same thing. And even in some, you got people that and then you rat them. You got out of it because you ratted on them for what they did.
Right.
So anyway, from then on, I went on and I became spiritual. I got into my roots of Native American and became a Sundance and through Indian country. I landed up being Federation, the European Parliament, Parliament. But what happened? Because there was a way to the American government into upon that they made. They would care about him. And on paper, it's a really good paper. On art, the Constitution, there's the United government, Native Americans, they violated every one of them. Every one of them. So I come to a point, man, I don't trust the United States of America. And I don't or Democrats. I got a problem with the way that acts. And some of the things that I hope that we can talk about is the immigration problems that we have in America today, what's happening with our economy, the whole Epstein case. There's many things, man, that are totally wrong. They really look at what's happening. So that's me today. That's who I have been for the past 50 years. I ain't got that old man that used to be inside of me, man. I'm all past that, man, and I don't want our young people to go through that life, to go through that hell, to be taken away from their families, and with no fucking goal except for the death penalty, or life in prison, or to get stabbed, shot. And there's a better life. But the only way that we have a better life is we do it together. All is controlled by rich people, controlled by banks, and they keep down. They get us to fight each other, and so I'm about fighting them.
Yeah. So listen, bro. I mean, the way it looks to me, man, is that we started out with uh, a free enterprise system, which was good and it worked for us for a long time. But it just seems to me that certain people and certain organizations uh, accumulated all of the wealth that there is in the country. I think they say that there's I don't know, about like 5% of the country controls all the wealth of the country, and the other 95% are like just like not peasants, but they're struggling to get by. You agree with that?
Oh yeah, you know that you go back to the Federal Reserve Act, which I think 1913. Go back to that and really take a look at what happened. What they allowed is they allowed banks to control our currency. To they make which they created the Federal Reserve System. They print the money. They print the coins. And with that Federal Reserve System, which is private banking, they say the United States government wants to do a project. They're going to build some bridges and everything, and they need $150 billion to do that. Well, the United States government goes to the Federal Reserve System, and they say, hey, we're going to build these bridges, and it's going to cost us $150 billion. And the Federal Reserve System, sure, we're going to print it and everything. And it says, well, what's the collateral you have? It's we have taxpayers. We can raise the taxes. We'll make sure that you get paid back with interest and compounded annually. In other words, it keeps on rising and rising and rising. It's billions for the bankers and debts for the people. That is our system. That's what the free enterprise system, was. It was created, but over time, the wealth. Few people were successful, and the wealth started just landed in the pockets of a very few, and then so there would be, let's say, some mom and pop's pizza parlor, and so then you have Domino's Pizza or whatever pizza. They start buying up everything. They start merging, and then so even you look today at the media, newspapers. The media is controlled just by very few people because they start buying all the smaller newspapers, and it just became a monopoly. And everything, all of the trade in America, all the businesses is owned by very few now.
Hedge funds. They call them hedge funds. You heard what I said?
What's that?
They call them hedge funds. Hedge funds.
Yeah.
I think there's one called Blackstone or something. There's like three of them, and like they're like the most powerful. What they do is they're investment hedge funds. They invest. And they're just really like bloated with money and power. I saw a thing this I actually saw this myself. It really opened my eyes. Some dude, old guy from down there in Florida, um, where where Trump lives, near Mar-a-Lago, in that area, Palm Beach. He owns 17 mansions in Palm Beach. 17 he owned. He sold them all. Anyway, he was talking to a bunch of people, and he said, "Listen, man, we're going to buy up all of the trailer parks in Florida, right? And uh, and we're going to raise the rent." He said, "Because once these people put a trailer down on a piece of land, they have to pay rent for that land. That's, it's a monthly expense, right?
Uh-huh.
They own the trailer, that's theirs, but we own the land." And so what they wanted to do was they wanted to buy the trailer parks from the people that owned them, and then raise the rent for the people who owned the trailers. And the guy said, he literally said this. He said, "It's there's nothing they can do. They have to pay us. They can't move." He knew that. It's impossible, like to like pick that trailer up and to move it to another place and put it down and all that is a huge expense beyond what most people can afford, right? Most people are on like a fixed income. Um, so, he's saying, well, we're going to raise it like like double the rent. And they bought like 2/3 of all of the trailer parks in Florida, and exactly what they did was they raised that rent on those trailers. And even if they were to like move, even if they did like somehow have the money, where are they going to move to? They own the other trailer parks too. They're doing the same thing over there.
Yeah.
This is called a monopoly. Why this guy wants money? That's the thing I never really understood. Maybe it's because, I'm from a a poor background. I would like be happy to have $5 million. That would be just great for me. I think I can get plenty of what I need and have a lot left over. Some of these people, they can have all that money and they still want more. There's a guy, he's fucking 85 years old. He's already had like I said, he owns 17 mansions in Palm Beach. This guy, I forgot his name. You know, he doesn't need any more money, but he wants more, and he wants to squeeze the little guy for that extra money. I mean, I don't understand that mentality, but that seems to be the mentality of all hedge funds, and uh, and that's who's pretty much behind. Who they
That's how Epstein got his start.
exactly,
It's
exactly,
the
yeah,
hedge
yeah.
funds, and to show people, especially the rich people, how to put their money offshore, how not to pay any taxes. And they got so much money and paying no taxes. We pay the taxes. It's crazy. And then they do this trick. The rich people do this trick. They put their money, instead of having cash, they owned all these bonds, stocks and bonds and everything. So when you say, "Oh, you're worth $50 billion," well then you should pay taxes. Yeah, no, but I don't have $50. Those are stocks. That's not money. Those are stocks. Those are bonds. And they say, "Yeah, but it's worth $50 billion." Yeah, but it's not money, so you can't tax them because it's not money. It's crazy.
I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I do know that all these all these budget cuts that are being all these programs, Medicaid and all that stuff that's being cut right now is being cut in order to give them more tax cuts. And that blows my mind because these people got the money to pay. Why don't they want to pay, man? They want us to pay their share. They don't want to pay their own share. They want us to pay for that. It's disgusting, and I don't understand what people don't see, like the people that just don't see that and just keep putting, waving the flag, talking about, Trump is like the best president we've ever had and all this stuff. I don't get that. I don't understand how they can miss all these obvious, points, man, that we're making here.
Democrats do the same shit. Democrats do the same shit. But at least, the social needs of people like healthcare and food stamps is come on, man. We're not going to let people starve. We're better than that. The I was watching the other day these farmers in Kansas, man. They're going broke. Many farms are having to file bankruptcy, and they've been doing that for a long time. But it's getting really bad. And the woman was saying that I don't understand. I voted red. As they were supposed to take care of us. They're not. Now we're losing everything. He says, we didn't want to be like the communists. So wait a minute, man. Look at your government. Look at the guy who's running the country. Where does communism come from? Look at the mother and the father of communism is Russia and China. And who does Trump talk about who are his heroes, who the most genius people besides himself is Putin and Xi. It's, communists.
Yeah.
It's communist country. Those are dictators.
Exactly.
And you got to understand, man, what Trump is doing with the economy, the things that he's doing with the executive orders today. What's he call that? What's he call that? His emergency bills. What you know what I'm talking about?
The big beautiful bill. You mean that thing he just?
Yeah,
that thing.
Yeah, but he's doing these emergency orders. This gets away because Congress is the only one who can really do tariffs and stuff like that, and he's using this emergency act. That he says he's got these sweeping powers, that was entrusted by me. I mean, he's making it like a declaration, like he's a king.
Exactly.
And putting tariffs is crippling our economy. I mean, the things that is going on right now. I remember he's saying that. On day one, the prices of the eggs are going to go down, and all the food prices are going to go down. Are the food prices in America going down?
They're going up. Even bananas. I just went and got bananas yesterday. I was like, what? What happened, man? They went up like, I think the price of bananas went up 20%. 20%.
Well,
that's a lot.
Okay, where do those bananas come from?
They're not coming from America. They're coming from other countries.
They're coming from Brazil. They're coming from other countries. And what's the tariff that Trump put on those countries that are sending the bananas? You're paying for that tariff.
Of course. He doesn't seem to understand that, although he's been told a million times.
Hey, MAGA people don't understand.
Listen,
they're so up too fast, They don't understand, man. Fucking look right in. Quit defending somebody. Just like I won't defend Democrats. There's no way in the world I'm going to defend them because I've seen them pull the same goddamn shit. It's like the North American Free Trade Agreement. The Republicans wrote that bill, and then President Clinton signed that bill into law. But then they blamed, because things went wrong, they blamed Clinton for a Republican bill that he signed. It's the blame game is fucking ridiculous, man. Quit blaming. Look, read, open your eyes, man. Open your brain. It's that's what's killing the world.
I don't remember the name of that guy I sent you that video of. Do you know his name?
I don't remember. It's an economist.
He's an economist. He's been an economist for 44 years. He teaches economy at Harvard and stuff. He's saying that, he, I mean, he broke it down into layman's terms regarding profits and losses, and how Trump keeps trying to say that other countries are taking advantage of us because uh, and that's not really true. I mean, they're not taking advantage of us uh, just because they might have one product that we don't have, uh, and we have to pay them for that. We have other products that they don't have that they have to pay for. So there's always going to be a trade imbalance between our country and other countries. Um, but that's made up for, you know, through our own sales and of goods and services to other countries. You know what I mean? Um, what might not work for one country, you know, will work for another country, because each country has different goods and services that they have to sell to the United States or to other countries. And the way that Trump tries to frame it, like they're trying to take advantage of us, and eh, that's his ridiculous outlook and opinion. Um, this is a guy who never paid anybody in his life. He cheated all the workers. Every time he's had work done on a building, on a casino, on whatever he's done, he's put a little down payment. And when it came time to fit, and they get the job finished, it came time for them, him to pay the money, and for the people to collect, he won't pay them. They got to take him to court.
Hey, he still owes a lot of cities. His campaign for doing his MAGA rallies, and he didn't pay the bill for that.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's one thing. It's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know what, too, man, is I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. Go ahead, Bob. You talk. I
Well,
forgot what I was going to
another
say.
thing. Hey, another thing is the food prices. Now check this out. Like 70% of the crops in California are sitting in the field rotting. Huh?
That's crazy.
70% of the crops because of immigration. You know, and then people talk about, yeah, well, we got to get rid of these illegal aliens, and then he created this. Well, he empowered, like what has been trusted to him by the president, is to declare the Alien War Act. Against the Venezuelans and stuff. And gang members, and he started deporting them to El Salvador, which the prisons in El Salvador is hellacious.
Yeah.
And so he started using that, and then he said he was just going to go after the bad guys. And there's always been that. Like California, where I grew up, it used to be Mexico. Before it was the United States. And there was a treaty, the Guadalupe-Hidalgo Treaty, that was signed in 1848. And then the time, so we were supposed to have certain rights to cross the border back and forth for economic reasons and stuff like that. In 1942, America was at war. Pearl Harbor had been bombed, and there just was a labor shortage. So the Mexican government, the United States government, they signed an agreement, and they created this program called the Bracero program in 1942. And it allowed Mexicans to come across the border. They would have contracts with different farmers. All the different farmers would say, we need 400 workers. We need another one, 300 workers. And what happened? They had it organized. It was organized. So then the Mexicans would apply. They would come across the border to work, which is the reason why they come across the border anyway now today. Right. So they would come across the border to work, and then after they finished the harvest, they finished their season, they would go back home. Huh?
Yeah.
If they didn't go back home, then they didn't get the job with the farmer. The next year. And for them, it's cheaper for them to go back home because things are cheaper than Mexico than having to pay rent in the United States and pay the prices of everything in the United States. So it was hell yeah. The reason today that they come here is to work, to feed their families, and the reason why they don't get back because they don't know if they're going to make it back again. The border patrol, all the science, the technology, the walls, and everything. They don't know if they're going to make it back. America needs their labor, and a good a good example is why prices are rising so high. Hey, they talked about that it's going to raise like 40%.
Look, bro, give it another few months.
Farmers are losing billions and billions and billions of dollars. And California, let me tell you the importance of California. California is the fourth largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
Just California alone. So you break California, you're breaking America. Not fucking very smart. Stupid policy. This is and he does it out of meanness. Out of anger. These people, they call themselves Christians.
Exactly. He's not a leader, bro. He's not a leader. He's not a leader. Leaders don't do anything out of anger. You can't do it. If you can't react out of anger, unless like somebody smacks you or throws a fucking missile at you or something like, then you can react. But I'm saying just the little petty beefs that he gets in with people like Governor Newsom, he tried to, stuff like that, man. He tries to punish the whole state of California. Man, it's not going to go well. It's just not.
Hey, you know what happened the other day? I'm just getting this information. I got a few more phone calls to make and everything. But the Mexican Mafia, the Nuestra Familia, the Norteños, the Sereños, and the Paisas all got a treaty. They stopped war against each other.
Right.
So that is fucking, that is big, dude. That is big. I really hope to God that happens. Because we don't need to be killing each other. It was kind of my goal when running the gang programs and stuff. But why? I kind of wonder why. See, there used to be conflicts against different Mexican factions in Mexico before the Revolutionary War. And then Zapata and Ponce Villa, they came together and everything, and they fought the enemy. Right now, the enemy is considered the United States of America. Look what on the streets, the military. There's these guys wearing masks. Now, what kind of country has their police running around with masks with no identification? And cops always had to have their name tag. They never wore masks. The only countries that have, in the history of the world where the people wore masks were bad guys. They were, who hides their face doing legal law enforcement?
Exactly.
And they're coming. I mean, when Newsom in Sacramento did a press conference, they were all storming around the press conference, acting like idiots and stuff, and then start making arrests like, hey, there's a brown one, go get him. It's fucking crazy. So now they come really on our turf. They're fucking, treating our families. They're just, deporting citizens, they're deporting hairdressers and people that are fathers and putting them in El Salvador prison. Hey, let me tell you something, man. Not too many people, because there was not very much coverage about this incident. And I know about it because I'm living in Europe. So I get a lot of the news with a lot of criticism of what Trump and the Americans are doing, and a few years ago there was this guy. His name was Dawood Hamid Ortiz, and he he had thought that this lawyer was having an affair with his wife.
Okay.
And then that lawyer was handling the divorce case against him. So he was pissed off. And he went into the law firm and murdered 3 people. And the 3 people that he murdered, man, it was a vicious murder. A woman who had 3 kids, which she was a lawyer. There was a woman who, her assistant, and she had 2 kids. He murdered her. He stabbed the shit out of them, beheaded one of them. And then this poor guy went in there to get some immigration paper. He murdered him. So at first the dude fled to Germany. And then because he's a Venezuela citizen, remember this was the whole thing, Venezuela, get the bad guys from Venezuela. So this guy eventually fled to Venezuela, and then Venezuela, they asked him to extradite him, back to Spain to face the charges of what he done. And Venezuela said, no, he's a citizen. We won't let another country prosecute our citizens. But the guy's also an American citizen. He's got a dual citizenship. And he was in the military for many, many years. So anyway, Venezuela found him guilty, gave him 30 years in prison. He was convicted last year. Trump did an exchange, a prisoner swap with Venezuela a couple weeks ago. And he traded a lot of those hairdressers and, people that just because they didn't know, no criminals. Nobody, the people who were deemed wrongly prosecuted. Right. He traded a bunch of them for this guy, this murderer, man, hadn't even done 1 year in prison, and he's running around the streets in Florida right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yes, yeah, I heard about that. Yep. Yeah. I mean, look, Janine Piro, you know who she is, right? He made her Janine Piro. He made her the United States attorney for the District of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's corrupt. Anyway, he gave her husband a pardon. He had just been convicted of income tax evasion. He gave her husband a pardon, right? Yeah. He's pardoning all these rich people. He's like people like John Grester thought he could get a pardon. He better. He ain't getting no pardon. He got no money for one thing. He's not going to get. Nobody's going to give. The pardons go to the rich people. The average criminal in the prison system, they got to do their time. They're just.
You know what else he gave a pardon to? Jared Kushner's dad.
That one too. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, check this out. When Jared Kushner's dad got out of prison, he went into business with his Sally. his Sally got out, and they went into business, with Jared. And then Jared goes to, he's working as an advisor in the White House. He goes to Saudi Arabia, and he ends up bringing back billions and billions of dollars. One of the things, like I live in France, and one of the things, man, is a fucking hot topic. You know who Trump appointed to be the ambassador to France?
Who?
For the United States? Jared Kushner's dad. Today he is the ambassador.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah. A fucking crook. Hey, a convicted felon appoints an ex-con.
The corruption is on a whole new level here, man. It's just, it's on a whole other level.
It's out front. The thing about, as far as I'm concerned, they're all criminals, but he's out front with his crime. And just because he's out front with his crime, doesn't make it okay.
No.
It's, corruption is corruption. we don't have time to talk. I hope next week we can talk about Epstein because I got some.
Look, man, if I thought for one moment that this was going to make us a better country, more prosperous, and give us better opportunities, I'd say go do what the fuck you want. I don't care how dishonest it is or whatever. But it's not going to do that. It's gonna ruin everything. It's gonna ruin the middle class and the poor. It's just going to do that, and we haven't even begun to see how bad it's going to get. It's going to get bad in the next few months. I'm guessing 3-4 more months. You're going to see some real problems here, man. Now, I'm talking about real,
Well,
like,
I mean, you look at the 70% of the crops rotting in the field in California.
exactly.
That's table food. This is not the corn for the grain to feed the pigs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the soy that's being sold to China. This is table food. This is the asparagus. This is the tomato. This is the stuff that when we sit down and have a dinner and get our vegetables, the majority of that food that feeds America comes from California, and it's rotten. How
Yeah.
the whole economic principle of supply and demand. What I mean? When the demand is high but the supply is low, the price goes up. And that's what's happening. And that's what's going to really start happening. It's gonna be like when you sit at the table, you only got one pea on the plate. That's because it's so damn expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And the prices that are going to go the highest are dairy products, butter, milk. For those kinds of things. It's going to go really, really, really high. I feel sorry for you guys because I'm in France and we don't have that problem.
Man, if I could figure out a way to get the right kind of money, I'd be over there with you. Believe me, I'm working on it though. I'm working on it. And listen, bro.
But sometimes, I got families, I got friends. I mean, some days, I'm on the outside looking in. Some days I'm in tears, man, to see what's happening in my country.
I know.
It's like, my God, I don't care if they're poor Republicans living in a trailer park or someone that's got a nice house, making it, living in check to check. For all of them, my God, what's going to happen to them? I care about them. It's a lot of them were my neighbors. A lot of them are my family. It's what the hell? Wake up, man, wake up. It's you can change it. It's to let them gerrymander. Hey, just a few months ago, last month, as a matter of fact, every Republican in Congress that was present that day, every Republican voted against releasing the Epstein files.
Oh man, that's another thing.
They're perfecting pedophiles, sexual predators. Why not? Hey, I got a daughter today, which I got to go pick up in about a half hour. With her friends downtown. I got a daughter today. I got to go get her a ticket for the bus because she starts high school in 2 weeks. So my daughter's the age that they forced into prostitution. These are the girls that Epstein and the predators were preying on. As a dad, man, if there was when he first got busted the first time, the FBI had 30 victims. 30 victims. And then this guy, the prosecutor at the time, worked out a deal that they won't file the federal charges. Many charges against him, and they worked out a sweetheart deal. Gave him 18 months and then he was doing a work furlough. He would get out every day. Then he got out on an early release, and he was still sexually abusing young girls on his work release. They let him go home, and Janine Maxwell make sure that he had the girls and everything, and he's still doing the same thing that he's in jail for. But anyway, they did this. They didn't prosecute him on the sex trafficking charges. He pled guilty to 2 soliciting prostitutes charges. So I mean, and it was illegal the way they did that because they never notified the victim. So the prosecutor for the federal government worked out the deal that, hey, we're going to hush this up. We're going to let this guy go. But he will sign. He will be put on the sexual predator database. So this sexual predator, the sexual predator in 2020, Trump says, hey, he's a fine man. He's and he stated, hey, he's fun to be with. Epstein says, hey, he's my best friend. So, I don't give a shit. Everyone's well, we want to see the client list. Everything's the client list. You got to show the client list. What's the client list? They found, even Blondie said they got truckloads of evidence. Truckloads of evidence. They reviewed over 300 gigabytes of data, and they didn't find no client list. Bullshit. There are tapes that's already been recorded by the FBI. Multiple tapes that they took in the evidence where they cross out the name. It says name with name. Name with name. In other words, this man with this little girl, this man with this little girl, this man, they have the names. They don't have to show the victim's name. I'm a dad. I want to know if there's a fucking sexual predator in the bank when I go in to do my business. I want to know if there's a sexual predator. Who the fuck are they?
There's a very good chance that Trump is one of the predators, bro. Very good chance. There's people that are saying that it is. There's that one girl. Right now she's the one they intimidated. I forgot her name, but anyway, listen, bro.
You don't really know her real name. She used the alias. She filed in California, and then he had like multiple fucking lawyers, filing motions and everything. And her lawyer that was handling her case, just one guy. It wasn't a law firm or nothing. She had one guy. He couldn't keep up with the motions they were filing, so the judge dropped the case because he didn't keep up with the motion. Right. So they dropped the charges. Then she refiled in New York, and then she was intimidated. So then she said, "Oh my God, they're going to kill me. I'm getting death threats." She got scared, so she dropped out of it. But there's multiple other ones that are testifying. What about them? Yeah. We know they done something. Then the prosecutor, they could say anything. Marlene Comey, she could say something. Trump fires her a couple weeks ago. Now she's a private citizen. She can't say nothing. The only way that she can say something is if if the Democrats win the next election and take over Congress, they can subpoena her. And then she has the right to speak under oath of everything, because many of the stuff when Maxwell and Epstein went to court is many of the things. No, we filed a motion. This can't be used because of this and that and everything. You know how that goes. And when you go to trial. So because the victims was a minor and we can't disclose the victims, so they use that kind of stuff, to not show much of
to protect themselves. Really,
there was so much compelling evidence that she was found guilty. That they know that she was trafficking young women for Epstein.
Now she's got a job at McDonald's. You know, they just got her. They just got her out and work release. Listen, Bobby, it's already been 45 minutes, and we can't go. Yeah, we're gonna have to shut it down. We can do this again next Wednesday, though.
Okay.
All right, bro. Because we're just nobody's gonna stay with us.
Let's get into this because I've been doing a lot of stuff on his death. And then who is Epstein? Let's talk about who is Epstein. Where did he come from?
Yeah.
How did he become a hedge fund manager, high school dropout? Let's cover that topic.
All right. Next week we'll do that. I got some information about it and some opinions too. But okay, so next Wednesday, guys, we're going to be back, same time, same station, and we're going to cover a lot more than what we did today and see what happens. And by next week, there's probably going to be a ton of other stuff to talk about. Because every day there's something new. You know, hey,
let's talk about Ukraine, Putin, and
yeah, exactly.
You know, that was shameful.
All right. So
take care.
All right, we're going to talk about this next week, guys. Bobby and I will be back, and we're going to do this every Wednesday, man. We're going to try to, bring some enlightenment to what's going on. Have a voice and try to prove some important facts that people need to learn and to know. That just maybe they just don't seem to be getting into their heads or something. I don't know why. All right, so we'll see you guys next week. And Bobby, I'll see you next week, bro.
Okay, take care, bro.
All right, bye.